How sweet it is to be loved by you nerds. I'm feeling off today on that one. How sweet it is to be loved by you nerds. We'll try it again next week. What is up? It's me, your buddy pal HeyArcher. Welcome back to HeyArcher Live here on Nerd Affiliated. It is so good to see all of you on this glorious Thursday evening. I just feel like time's flying. We're already almost midway through January. The year is just going to fly by. We'll make it through. That's what we do. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, hit the subscribe button. Wow. See what I'm talking about? Hit the subscribe button down below. And if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook, you can follow us there. But of course, come over to YouTube, subscribe there. Something I don't say very often is if you are watching on the other platforms and you decide to comment, it will show up on the stream. So you'll still see yourself on the stream with the rest of us. But if you're listening to the audio replay of this, sorry, you're on your own. Come to a live show. It's fun, I swear. Tonight we have Senor Anthony in the house. We're going to catch up with him. There's some things coming down the pipeline that I'm not as excited about. Maybe he can convince me. Probably the main one being Ant-Man. But I feel like I stand alone on that. We'll talk about that. Of course, if you've got a YouTube channel, a podcast, a blog, a vlog, an OnlyFans, a newsletter, smoke signals, put it in the chat. Support one another. Plug yo shit. And this evening, General Kenobis Bunker is going live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, or Central, I think. Central, yeah, that's what it is. So when you're done with this show, head on to his show. See, I am messing up. When you're done with this show tonight, head to his show. Link will be down below in the description. Make sure you subscribe to him as well. But without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Actually, I forgot to... see? Box office recap. I'm all over the place today. It's wild. I'm sorry, Anthony, and all of you. I've failed you. And of course, he's still muted somehow. Wait, can you hear us now, senor?
I can. Can you hear me?
We hear you. There we go. Hey, I figured it out.
Hey. I think you had a little too many pre-show cocktails.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't even have your icon loaded on this screen that I'm on. Let me see if I can just drag it in real quick before I say hi to everybody. How about you probably have the chat open. You could say hi to everybody real quick as I try to load up everything on here. Slacking.
I do. Good evening, everybody. In no particular order, we have Hobbies with Jose, Dave's Dimensions, Mr. Aaron Waller, and I just closed the chat, so now I can't see anybody. KO, Sal, Josh, One Late Night Man, all in the chat. Hello to all of you. Thank you for coming with us. We relied heavily on the 8:15-ish tonight. I feel like that's more me than you. It was a long day at work.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
So, yeah. And yes, it's cheers to all of you, because I've been waiting.
I didn't even do that.
Well, it's okay. Shit happens.
It does.
Beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
All right. As he said
in the chat, Dave says technology is great when it works. Yes, you never realize how dependent you are as when you rely on the GPS, because I have no sense of direction, and then suddenly your signal drops out and you're just like, well, I guess I just stay here and die until the satellite comes back.
Isn't it weird? Even, at my place of business, at times I'll, let's say somebody's returning a gift, or they're like, oh, I'm buying this for my partner. I'm like, all right, let me, put in their phone number. What's their number? And sometimes people just shoot it off the top of the head. I'm like, I now remember just two numbers, my own and the landline that my mom doesn't even have anymore, because forever all I had was a landline. So I think I still have that number in my head, but that's about it. Otherwise, I'm tapped out.
So I have mine, obviously, like you said. I have my grandmother's, because that's been the same, and my aunt, because both of those have been the same since I was a kid. And I'm fairly sure if you put a gun to my head, I can dial Josh's mother's house.
Hey.
So feel like I can, and I don't want to blurt it out, but I'll text Josh later to see if it's right.
There you go.
I wonder if she still has that.
There you go. Josh can let us know in the chat. Of
Yeah,
course.
if he's up to speed,
If he's up to speed.
not wrangling his tiny humans.
But no, thank you all for coming by. Mark, Jose, Dave, KO, Sal, of course, one third of our team, and Josh. Yeah, awkward. Anthony be rolling into that Josh house when he's not there, just straight up like.
Oh God, that theme song. Oh, let's not talk about that show tonight.
You know, I almost, so if some of you, in case any of you don't follow us on Instagram, you should, whether it's HeyArcher on Instagram, the Rambling Nerd on Instagram, or Nerd Affiliated. Every week we post a video, like essentially like a little music video, just promoting the live show. And most of the time, the video has something to do with today's episode. I think the best Easter egg, my favorite Easter egg so far. One day I posted chips. Actually, I've done it twice now. Once with Sal, but my favorite one, I posted it when Paximus was coming on because he lives out there in California, and I was like, oh, I wonder if anybody will guess that the guest is from California. But I forgot how I got on that. But follow us on Instagram. Fun stuff. But today's Easter egg, do you want to tell them what that was in reference to?
The man, I think it's in reference to, because we didn't coordinate beforehand, the man's coming back for Flash 9th and final season for, I think it's actually episode 9 of season 9. I don't know if it's a short season, but I'm pretty sure that's the episode. Stephen Amell, Arrow himself, is coming back from beyond the grave or through a time hole or an alternate universe, which supposedly they wiped out, but he's coming back. He's throwing on the green tights one more time. And actually he had on his Instagram, I think he's like, I'm wearing a heel shirt under a familiar uniform today because I can. So I think he will be in suit. And I'm pretty sure I saw the Arrow pants on, which I think he said was the worst part of the costume at one point.
Yeah. I mean, in watching clips, I was like, none of that suit seems practical for crime fighting. But yeah, I feel like that's the case for everybody. When it comes to the crime fighting. But sorry, the part that my brain forgot to mention when I got into that rant a little while ago, I almost chose Robin versus Slade from Titans as the music video for tonight's episode. But I was like, it doesn't reference anything other than our mutual hatred for Titans.
Yeah, it's not pretty. I think, and forgive me, I should know, but I think Aaron is still watching it, or he's going to just review it all at once. I got through an episode and a half at most of the most recent season, and I just
Aaron
can't.
quit.
I'm done. Did he?
I think so.
Aaron, did you? Are you a quitter like us? Because that's okay. You're in good company.
So apparently Dave must like Titans because, or I should say, he doesn't stand alone apparently. Because this week I was talking to another friend of mine. He was like, "Oh, do you ever watch that show Titans on HBO? It's dope." I'm like, just like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah. And like, not to make this all about Titans, but like you said, the first couple episodes of season 3 where they really started with the Red Hood stuff, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you just kept watching and you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
So.
I have, including yourself, has anybody here continued with the CW shows like in the last 2 years or so, like post the Crisis thing? Because I think people jump back in a little bit for Crisis because we heard Kevin Conroy was coming back for it. R.I.P. to God himself. But I think outside of that, I feel like a lot of people stopped like after that period. Have you or anybody else in the chat, have any of you continued on with it?
Personally, I haven't. I watched Crisis, and again, like if they did it differently, if it was like, if it didn't so clearly weave into each individual show.
Mm-hmm.
If it was like if they were able to like clear whatever amount of time, 6 weeks, I don't know, from their schedule somehow, and have everybody there and shoot it cohesively as a long ass movie,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been better. But since that, I pretty much jumped right out because I was curious, and like we've talked about, the Flash is just like, they made the joke about it when I say it all the time. They joked about it when they did the Elseworlds thing where Barry and Ollie swapped minds and body. No, just mind. Excuse me. They didn't swap anything except for identities, but they still
Yes.
looked like each other.
Yeah.
But Oliver says to Barry something like, you can't go more than 5 hours without a sappy motivational
Yeah.
speech, and it's like, yes, okay, they addressed it.
Yeah.
We can move on from this, and then it's just a sappy motivational speech. Or like, I was kind of wanting to jump back in, but then I saw a clip where, and spoilers for maybe season 8, I guess, or 7. At some point, Barry and Reverse Flash form lightning lightsabers.
Yes.
Like they're very Kylo Ren-ish because they're crackling lightning bolts, but like for
Yeah.
no reason whatsoever that I can tell, and they start lightning bolt sword fighting. I think his name, the all white speedster, Godspeed,
Mm-hmm.
I think was his name. And it was just like, what? And that was just a clip, so it was totally out of context. But I don't know if there's enough context in the world to justify that happening.
And the
I
fact that
don't
they
know.
even did like like just like put their hand out and like the sword just comes out, like straight up, just lightsaber comes out, and I'm like, you guys sat down, read this. I assume they do the table reads, and nobody said, "All right, are you guys like mess with me? Like, where's the real script? Like what's the deal here?"
I know, it's crazy. So yeah, I fell off. I'm curious, so I'll try to tune in or whatever. But like, honestly, the shows that had grabbed my attention, Stargirl season 3 just dropped on HBO, so I'm going to blow through that, which is
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately the final season.
Yep.
Uh, Lois and Clark, or no, excuse me, Superman and Lois is shooting now and will air soon. So same thing. I might wait till HBO because they give you like the slightly extended episodes on HBO Max, and
Mm-hmm.
then again, maybe I'll do the Flash weekly just to see, but I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not going to miss it. There is a good superhero show in there, but they just too much of like the teen CW drama.
Yeah. No,
You know?
and Stargirl is like the one show that kind of, it has some of the drama, but it's like very controlled, and it feels like it actually is part of the story. Like right now, I'm in season 2, and there's this continual drama between the teen characters, but it's not just like, oh, I don't like you because like you're pretty or something. It's like, no, you have superpowers. I literally just met you today. You seem pretty strong. I don't trust you that you're in it to like actually help us. Like the drama like makes sense because everybody is tied in as either a hero, a villain, or a lineage, or a legacy person. Like that their parent was a hero or their parent was a villain. So it seems
Yeah,
like it makes more
exactly.
sense in Stargirl.
Yeah, the high school drama makes more sense because they're literally in high school.
Yeah.
And somehow they managed to toe the line, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's appropriate and it's just enough. It's never too much. I accept a little bit of camp because it is mainly dealing with kids.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I saw a trailer for season 3 where Joe McHale is like giving Owen Wilson's character shit for letting all the people, spoilers if you haven't watched the show, letting all like the villains, some of whom had a hand in like beating or killing the JSA, live as their neighbors. Like, so it is
Mm-hmm.
like they are, it does like gets serious and intense at certain points. So they
I was about
balance it
to
all out.
I was about to actually pull up who Joel McHale is, but for the sake of potentially spoiling the show, I won't for now. But
I mean, it's in the trailer.
yeah, but maybe somebody goes in cold turkey. I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
maybe
I mean, I kind
it's
of just ruined it for them then, but
no, it's fine. um, but yeah, the other one, of course, is you mentioned Lois and Superman, Superman and Lois.
yeah,
Such a good show, and it toes the line. It toes that line.
it is. Because of that damn test, I never actually got to review season two, I realize.
Mm-hmm.
And like same thing, season two suffered a little bit, and to me anyway, like I almost feel like it was too long, and they kind of did the Daredevil 2 thing where like they split the villains,
Mm.
you know? Like for the first half, can I say should I not?
You can go for it.
It kind of focused on Bizarro Superman for the first half,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they jump, and I don't even remember her name because it wasn't. I just don't remember her name.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since I watched it. But then they kind of jumped focus onto this woman. I think her name was actually like Annie Alley or something, and it was like what? And like they did some stuff where I was just like, okay, like they got a little almost like too much like not camp, but too much like out there sci-fi Superman, like
Mm-hmm.
doing like crazy shit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like almost in line with in the Tower of Babel, where he's like, "I'll push the Earth out of the way," and Batman basically just calls him a fucking moron, and he's like, "No, no, you sit down,
Yeah.
sit down. I said, don't make me get the kryptonite. Sit down."
Yeah.
Uh,
Is that the? Because you guys in the group chat were talking about the that they're doing the red something in Flash. Is that like their equivalent of a Tower of Babel? Is that what you're talking about?
no, so what they're doing in Flash is they're doing Red Death, and in the comics, Red Death is in the dark. And I'm not 100% up on it, but from what I've read, the Red Death is from the Dark universe, the Dark Knight's Metal universe.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a version where pretty much like the heroes all lose and all the infinite Earths in the Dark universe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, right there. And the Red Death is Batman who lost his partners, like I'm assuming to like the Joker or just his various rogues. And he kind of like pleads with Barry Allen to go back in time and save everything. And Barry, he's like, no, 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 it's not how it works. Time's going to bite you in the ass if you do that. And then that Earth's Bruce Wayne basically says, all right, well, I asked nicely once. And then somehow he knocks out the Flash, straps him to the hood of a Batmobile. And because he's Bruce Wayne and Batman and can just figure anything out, he guns it and somehow taps into the Speed Force with the Flash mounted to the hood,
Mm-hmm.
and he fuses. He like absorb. I think he absorbs all the Speed Force. He absorbs the Flash. Maybe he even absorbs the Batmobile because he was in the damn Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, he's what you see there. He calls himself the Red Death, and it's Batman Flash hybrid. But he's a villain. He like mass murders. In a blink of an eye because he's going that fast.
Isn't that the same kind of thing that happened with the Bat Who Laughs? Like, didn't he also lose people and then he turned bad? And then there's like other versions of there's like in Batman Metal, aren't the multiple Batmans that show up all some sort of? They all have the same trigger point that like their people died and then they turned.
Well, there's different ones. Again, now that I have free time, because by the way, I don't know if I told you, but I told you this part, but for anybody else who listens somewhat regularly and has heard me bitch about this for the last few years, the dreaded test is done. And not only that, but I passed. So yay. But now the real point of mentioning this, I can actually read comics that I've wanted to read, and it's been out for so long I can get the trades and just read it all through and review it.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I read online as it was happening, the Dark Multiverse, yeah, like it's basically evil Batman, but it's different trigger points. Like the Batman Who Laughs, he actually, the Joker died. I don't remember if it was by his hand or not. And when the Joker died, he got exposed to some toxin that the Joker had like inside him.
Mm-hmm.
And that corrupted him and turned him into the Batman Who Laughs. And it's an evil Batman who's been Jokerized basically, and he turned like the Robins into like evil like Robins running around in like still like the old pixie boot and short uniform. He kills the entire Justice League, because he's still Batman. He's just evil now. Yeah. Uh, there's a Batman who Superman went rogue and he infected himself with this Doomsday virus. So he's basically a Doomsday Batman hybrid,
Oh, I saw
and
that
he just,
figure.
yeah. Or there's one, I think there's one where like he becomes a Green Lantern,
Yep.
but it's a twisted evil version of the Green Lantern, and I'm sure there's a whole ton more that I can't even think of. Uh, but yeah, that's a whole dark multiverse thing, and then like Dark Knight's Metal ended it all. Like that was the big thing
Hmm.
that birthed the whole. I think they rebooted the universe again somehow. So
Because
they're
why not?
like much like DC's movie universe, their comic universe gets rebooted a little too often for my taste ever since the New 52.
Hmm.
So,
It's funny.
but
A lot of what you were talking about, I only knew because of the toys. Like in going toy hunting, and even like the Doomsday one, I bought it um, back when I was just buying everything because I was freaking crazy. And I
yeah,
somebody was talking about it in another video, and I was like, "Wait, did they say that was Batman?" And then I grabbed the figure and I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh, there's a bat symbol on his chest." And
yeah.
I had no idea that each one of these characters was like, an evil Batman essentially.
hmm And like I almost want to say it kind of ties in to Grant Morrison, because I feel like the in RIP, Batman RIP, I feel like there was like mention of a bat god called Barbatos or something.
Hmm.
I feel like the Batman Who Laughs transformed himself into that or something. But again, I didn't read the books yet, so I could be completely pulling that out of my bottom.
That happens from time to time.
It does happen, and I apologize because I'm looking in the chat, and I believe our mutual acquaintance, Mr. Waller, is saying that he has a whole video about the Batman Who Laughs. So, oops, sorry, didn't mean to step on your toes
I'm actually trying to find that one, but I can only see part of my screen because of all the windows I have up
for the show.
for the show. But if you guys have not done so, make sure you follow. By the way, I didn't see anybody else do this yet. Again, if you have a YouTube channel, podcast, all that stuff, put it in the comments. That way, everybody knows to follow you. You guys, we can all support each other. But Aaron Waller does God's work over at Nerdgenic, and one of his series is called The History of, and you should definitely check it out. He's got a lot of good history ofs here, and even this one, The History of Scar. I was like, I knew of him but didn't know him, and then of course he debuts in She-Hulk, god awful show. I was
Yeah,
just like, God damn.
and that was not the way. That was not the Scar. I think I
No.
read Sal. Did I borrow World War? I feel like I borrowed Planet Hulk and World War Hulk from you.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, the Scar I met in those issues, not the guy that we saw at the end of She-Hulk.
no, not at all. So yeah, definitely check this out. The other thing too here, he has a lot of history ofs where there are characters that have been hinted at that may not fully be released yet, but best believe as the phases continue, they're gonna be playing a role in a lot of that stuff. Especially like Hercules here, who was at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder. So check out
Mm.
Nerdgenic for sure. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just kind of catching up in the comments there. Yep.
No, no, all good. In the chat, does anybody aside from me speaking, since we're just clearly on DC for the moment,
Hmm.
does anybody but me watch Doom Patrol? I've
Ooh.
been oddly sucked in. Like, I watched the first two seasons and I was just like scratching my head. I have no knowledge really, except for like, I know of them from the comics and I know that was Beast Boy's team. And like that information I got from the Titans, the Teen Titans cartoon in the early 2000s. Uh, but yeah, like I'm watching this show, and it's kind of like The Watchmen in that it's not the Justice League. Like I had a friend, Rob, uh, passed away. we went to see Watchmen when it came out in theaters, and I had read
Mm,
the comic, and I was like, just so you know, it's not Justice League,
right.
because he had never read the book, but he was like, oh, it's a superhero movie. I'm like, no. But he still wanted to see it, and then afterwards he's like, what did you make me watch? I was like, no, 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 you wanted to watch it. So it's kind of got that vibe. Like, it's not a superhero show. It has superhero characters in it, but it's like just like each episode I'm scratching my head, and it's like dealing with all their individual trauma, which is like at times more compelling than just if they were like, if Robot Man was going out there beating the shit out of something.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, I don't know. I started watching it again because I have time now, and I burned through season 3. I couldn't put a gun to my head. I could dial Josh's house line. I cannot tell you what the show is about, what that season's about. I just know I was entertained, and I kept going back for more.
Well, apparently you're not alone because Dave's Dimension loves Doom Patrol, so he's definitely
Okay, so
watching
yeah, like Dave, I can you explain what the hell the show is about? Because like it
it.
better than what I mean. I know I didn't do a good job, but it's them dealing with their trauma,
Yeah.
and there's some weird zany shit thrown in there. And hearing Brendan Fraser's voice of Robot Man just like basically curse, and everybody like I love that fuck comes out of their mouth every other word.
Yeah.
Uh, it's very interesting to me.
I mean, that's the thing about the first episode. Like, I remember Joel and I started watching it, and I think the only reason we stopped was because we just didn't know what was happening. We're just like at one point, it's actually the same thing that happened to me at Game of Thrones, where I was watching it, the episodes. I think we got through season 1 easily, because we were watching it. I think we're coming off of Stargirl at that point. But episode 1 happens, and profanity and nudity happen in the first like 5 minutes, and we're just like, oh shit, like this is not a kids show. Okay, got it. Similar to opening of Watchmen. But season 2 happens, and we start watching it, and like at a certain point, I was like, wait, did we miss an episode? Like, I feel like I'm forgetting something, and then he didn't know what was happening, and then we like exited the episode. It said we watched the previous one, so I was like, maybe we skip parts. So we go back to the episode, hit play, rewind it, and we're like, no, we've seen all this, and no clue what's happening. Absolutely no clue what's happening.
Like that happens. Like I said, I've binged the 3rd season, and I'm working on the 4th. That happens, and I've been paying attention, trying to pay attention, and I'm like, still occasionally, I'm like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually so weird because that show was supposed to spin out of Titans, and I guess it kind of did, but right away they set it up as a totally different show. Like they never mentioned Gar, because in the episode of Titans in season 1, he finds Raven and takes her back to Doom Manor, excuse me, and you're introduced to the team there. I can't remember I think it was the same actress who played Rita Farr. I don't remember if it was the same voices for Robot Man and Negative Man. And it was definitely a different chief. Like Timothy Dalton is the chief in
Yep.
the main Doom Patrol show, and I'm just
Right.
like, what?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like they immediately set it up. Like remember way back when we were like, oh wow, they're going to be a superhero universe. It's going to be more adult on HBO Max. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Titans, Doom Patrol, they're going to weave in. No, totally different universes, totally different. And that's good, because if it was just another Titans, I would have turned it off a long time ago. But
Yeah.
I'm 4 seasons in now, and I'm hoping it survives the James Gunn. I'm not hating on him for doing it. I get why he has to do it. I'm hoping he finds a way to not axe it.
Yeah. Or incorporate them into, Dave brings up a good point there about crossing over a Peacemaker. Like maybe you cross over that direction, and then you make that like its own universe, and then introduce a new set of Titans. Because I mean, at this point, like, I don't know. I don't know who's watching Titans that like loves it. Like people are like, oh, it's cool. Oh, it's edgy. I like that it's more mature. But like, I don't know a person who watches Titans who's like, oh, I can't wait for season 3. I can't wait for season 4. Like, this is like, it's my jam. So I'm like, who's watching it that's keeping this going, unless they're just like, no, we believe so much in this show, we're going to keep it going. But I would love it to all go the Peacemaker universe, where it, comedic, but serious, but entertaining, good storyline,
Yeah,
Love it.
I mean, it's a lot, but I mean, it can be done.
Yeah.
And like I've been saying, bring the Titans along too, but just change them because like I keep saying, it's well cast.
Mhm.
Just whenever after, let's assume that the Flashpoint movie, He Who Cannot Be Canceled, as Sal loves to call him.
They Who Cannot Be Canceled.
Sorry, They Who Cannot Be Oh, fuck, I'm canceled now.
Now you're canceled.
They Who Cannot Be Canceled uh, is going to be the Flashpoint movie. Like that's the assumption I think we're all operating under.
Yeah.
After that, like you port everybody over into this universe, and then like just rewrite their history. I don't care. Like as much as I say I hate that you have to read like a Star Wars book to get, to further explain that the red crystal you see for a second in Luke's hut is actually like a shattered piece of Vader's kyber crystal. You know, put them all in one universe. Give me something that's a backstory, like either a film or just like come on to do a podcast and be like, okay, here's the current state of DC.
Yeah.
Titans, Peacemaker, Doom Patrol, all the same universe now. Here's what's happened in Titans going forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be kind of lame, but I don't want to reboot. I know who these characters are. If you're watching the show, you know who these characters are, at least the main ones. You can introduce other ones like Hawk and Dove and, along those lines. But just like, they got to get their shit together. And
yeah,
again, I will stand by it. It's a well-cast show,
yes.
Titans. The people writing it just did not read a single goddamn comic book.
Yeah. But what's crazy? This show exists, and yet they are still releasing Gotham Knights as a show that isn't even like these people. Like Gotham Knights, I don't even think it has Robin in it. It's like the son of Batman, but like not Damian Wayne either.
As far as I've only seen the one trailer, and we keep talking about it in our chat. I swear I thought I heard or read something that this show was just dead, like that they were canceling it, but it's still coming out. Yeah, he's Batman. He had a son, not Damian, not Dick, not any of the other Robins. Kept his secret life from him, dies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Harvey Dent is not Two-Face right now, but I guess, he will be Two-Face by the end of the season, I'm sure. And like Carrie Kelly is the closest thing to Robin because she's in the trailer. And yeah, his son, I don't even know, Bruce's son, I don't even know what his name is on the show, somehow gets accused of being involved in his murder, and then Carrie Kelly breaks him out, and then it's going to be them running around trying to solve this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so ridiculous. I can't.
Yeah. Comes out March 14th. So it's not canceled at all.
I mean, he's in charge now, so if he has as much control, Gunn is in charge. If he has the control, and if they're ending the Flash and everything else for like, I'm gonna have to assume part of the reason they're ending it is beyond that it's been on for 9 years and they canceled all the other shows.
Mm-hmm.
That the restructure is coming. And by the way, shouldn't he have? I thought sometime soon Gunn is going to be announcing his plan, right? He kept saying in January, and it's January.
I don't know. I mean, but they keep changing it. Like it's one of those where they
I'm just looking at your thing. They have Stephanie Brown, Harper Row, Dula Dent, mutant gang member. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with this show, but they're gonna do too much, and it won't implode fast enough. I'm sorry.
And apparently, there's going to be a Court of Owls in this thing.
Yeah, like that. No, just stop it. Stop it right now.
I was noting this, Aaron, as I was reading down the episodes. He's right. Only one person's in for 10 episodes. That one's 3 episodes. Maybe it gets nixed, But then you have that other garbage that's out. Freaking Pennyworth. I don't think Pennyworth is canceled at all.
I mean, again, he needs to publish his plan.
3 seasons.
Well, they had 3 seasons. They had 1 or 2 seasons before it moved to HBO Max. So when DC's properties were in total disarray, and they were just trying to make any sort of money that they could, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize to the chat. I'm trying to text in there, but I may have had a little too much vino, so it's getting a little harder to split my focus. So I'm just gonna keep talking to you because that's why I'm here tonight.
There you go.
So I guess we're just gonna full on go for a DC show today. Is that okay? Is there
Yeah, we're
anything
just.
outside of this you want to talk about?
Well, how about I alluded that we would do this in the not alluded. I blatantly said it in the description of the episode that we would run a round of either. So let's keep it DC.
Oh yes.
In the game of either, in case any of you don't know, you have choice red, you have choice blue. You choose which one best suits you. So if we're playing, we're playing DC here, would you rather be unknown superhero, or would you rather be famous villain? And of course, who would you be? I actually, in thinking of unknown superhero, I was thinking Marvel, and I was like, oh yeah, I'd be Daredevil. But we got to keep it DC. So
Yeah. And I mean, is Daredevil really unknown at this point?
well, fair question. When I read this as unknown, I was thinking unknown in that universe that you're gonna be in, and I don't think the average person in the Marvel universe as a bystander sees Daredevil and doesn't go, "Oh, is that Spider-Man?"
Fair enough. So this is probably if you're still in the chat or anybody in the chat, this is a question for you guys because I'm not up on it. They've similar to all the recons and stuff. Daredevil's been his secret identity has been reconned, however you should say it, a ton.
Mm-hmm.
What's the current status on that? I think he went to prison, but he kept the Daredevil mask on the entire time. So
he's out of
does
prison.
nobody know he's Matt Murdock again? He's out of prison now, but
yeah,
like they had Elektra was being Daredevil while he was in prison, and I think they're both Daredevil now.
No, So I'm a little bit behind on Daredevil, and the only reason I even know any of this was I found. So every so often I type in like some of the keywords we use on this channel to see like what content creators come up like number one, and God, I can't remember his name. Is it? Let's just type it in. See who comes up first. Blur Without Fear. There you go. And I just thought it was a dope name and concept, because obviously he's a Daredevil fan. So I watched some of his videos, and he was talking about the most recent Daredevil story arc that's going on. And yes, Daredevil went to jail for murder, but then he, I guess at some point gets out. I missed a part in there, but somehow gets out, and now he's the new head of the Hand, I believe. So, sorry, I'm getting like work text as I'm trying to stream. Hang on, let me just turn off.
Oh, good.
He's the new head of the Hand, and Punisher is the head of like they're called the Fist, or it might be vice versa, and they're both gangs or ninja gangs are like going at each other now. So that's the last I heard of what Murdoch is doing at the moment. Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued. I'm also very confused.
The thought of Punisher running a ninja organization was very confusing to me. But apparently that's what's happening. Mm-hmm.
Very weird.
But I don't know. When I think of unknown hero, I automatically think of Daredevil.
I mean, in DC, I'm not picking it, but if I was in DC, I guess I would go with Booster Gold. Because I feel like, especially in like, he had one comic run, I think it was actually in the New 52, where he was actually like a legit hero, but he let everybody think he was a bumbling idiot or just like, a glory hound like he's always been portrayed. to keep the cover because he was kind of like a secret. Basically, he was almost. I didn't read it, but from what I remember, he was kind of like a secret agent protecting the time stream type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go red for a change, and I would
And
kind of want to be. We're sticking with DC, so just because I'm having such a good run in the gym lately, and because I'm not natural, I'm gonna go Bane.
nice.
So yeah, but I'm gonna be a terrible Bane because I don't care about Gotham or Batman. I just want to keep working out.
That's fair.
Mm.
So just going through the chat, we have, unless you're Luther, if you're a famous villain, you're consistently in a rundown. You're consistently in rundown hideouts with sketchy plumbing. Yeah.
Yeah, sketchy plumbing is not fun.
Not pleasant at all.
No.
General Kenobi jumping in, but he's jumping out. His stream is starting soon.
Have a good show, General.
There you go. Link will be down below. But who's running the foot? It's true. Who is running the foot? Know your craft is going
Speaking
blue.
of, real quick, speaking of the foot, I got in the mail and I can't wait to start it. I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin hardcover. I didn't realize it was a hardcover. That made me even more excited. So
yeah,
I think I'm finishing a book for fun finally. And I think this Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to crack that bad boy.
Yeah. We definitely have to do an episode where we talk about that. Because, I mean,
I
know. Wait, do you know who the last, don't say it here, but do you know who the last
do.
Ronin is? You do? Okay.
I do. Unfortunately, that got spoiled for me. But I didn't read any other details. And I didn't really realize I was reading a spoiler article. I just thought it was going to be like, you know, a little bit of information about it. But then it said The Last Ronin is, and I was like, oh. So that sucked a little bit, but still, it does. I've heard so many good things about this book, that I'm still excited to read it. So
yeah, it's weird. I think that actually, can't do that. Oh, I can. I think it's so cool that Last Ronin, even though it's probably 2 years old by this point, it's still not like widely discussed who it is. Like it's one of my favorite, like, I think Anthony's phone died or something, or he's probably answering a text message. Because it went black.
Nope, I was trying to, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, we hear you.
Sorry, I opened a new tab to try to find the date. I didn't realize it was going to cut me off. So now I'll look at it on my phone and I'll leave my iPad alone. Sorry about that.
But no, it's one of those.
Annoying?
Yeah.
I still can't do a lot of stuff on, like, I can't tag people in the chat because I'm on an iPhone and an iPad. That's so annoying.
I hate
that. I don't get it. I can't, I want to be, I mean, I don't know if this is masturbatory. I want to sign up and become one of our own subscribers. I can't do that because I don't have a laptop and you can't do it on iOS.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, sorry, because I also got distracted here. I know who the Last Ronin is, Batman. If you guys have not watched Batman vs. Ninja Turtles, you should. It's on HBO. It's great. Ending's a little wonky. At this point, I'm used to endings being a little wonky in our superhero stuff, but definitely check it out. A Suicide Turtle is definitely interesting. Yeah. No, it's a dark story. And there was somebody who that's the thing too. There's people who know who it is and still want to read it. I love that.
Yeah.
October
of 2020, by the way.
So it was 2020. Okay, cool. There was somebody who was talking about Last Ronin. I think it was a figure review actually, and they were talking about how when they were reading the book, it was a brand new story, not in any existing turtle universe that we already know. Like, it's not the movie universe. It's not like the original cartoon universe. It's like its own thing. But it seemed so familiar, but yet so not just mature, but like it was made for us. Like, it's one of those where it's one of those stories where it's not debatable that it was made for the older fan now who loved it as a kid, who's like, oh, I need something to just get me back into it.
Yeah.
And
sorry,
no, go ahead.
I was going to say this actually won't even be getting me back into the Turtles comics. This will be the first Turtles comic I've ever read.
Yeah, yeah. For a lot of us, it is or was.
Yeah, I was strictly the movies and the TV show, the cartoon, even the live action show they did on Channel 5,
Yeah.
which got me mocked. And I didn't realize it at the time by my it got me mocked by somebody, and I was just like too naive to realize it. But yeah, so this will be my first Turtles comic.
You know, I'm going to answer this question real quick before we continue on Last Ronin, because you guys seem kind of split in the comments. So I'm going to go unknown superhero, and for the person that I would be, I don't know, there's just something I really like about the question. Like, again, shout out to Justice League Unlimited. The question, dope story arc in that show.
The question, honestly, like, obviously we go back to it because it's just such a good show. His arc in Justice League Unlimited, like, who saw that coming?
Right?
You know? Like, in the same way of, like, you know, giving him credit, James Gunn, who would have thought you would have given a crap about Polka Dot Man?
Yeah.
In a film. And by the end of that movie, when he gets flattened, I was like, no, I was not terribly upset, but I was upset. I was like, oh man, I thought he was safe.
I mean, he did it we'll go backwards there. He did it for Peacemaker, got you to care about Peacemaker, got you to care about Polka Dot Man and the rest of Suicide Squad in the second one, got you to care about Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, nobody gave a shit about Guardians of the Galaxy before it came out. Nobody.
Nope. Even Marvel didn't give a shit about Guardians of the Galaxy. That's
People
probably
were
why
like,
they gave it to him.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it's going to be a springboard for Nova. Like, that's the only reason I think people cared. They were like, Nova and Thanos will be involved, and that's why Guardians of the Galaxy could be cool. But,
yeah. Or Adam Warlock. I think everybody was expecting him a lot sooner than what we're getting him.
Yeah.
But have you ever read the actual, from, I guess, like the 80s or the early 90s, whenever the original Infinity Gauntlet storyline?
Didn't read it. I watched a Comics Explained on it where he reads it for you.
Okay.
But it was so long
like
ago.
What I'm going to do with Last Ronin.
Yeah, it was so long ago. I just don't remember.
Just like it's so much more in that. Like,
yeah,
because I think I borrowed it from Sal, and reading
you borrow a lot of books from Sal. Do you give them back in it at all, or?
I do actually. So I went to visit him a couple weeks ago, and he actually gave me a bunch of books back that I had lent him. So it's a two-way street. Like, I lent him The Long Halloween, Dark Victory. I lent him You're Gonna Roll Your Eyes. I lent him Spider-Man and the Black Cat, The Evil That Men Do by Kevin Smith. Listen, that one, real quick, jumping to Marvel, whatever. When that, like, I'm just going to give spoilers because what the hell, it's so old. They published 3 issues, him being him, Kevin Smith being Kevin Smith. He didn't write the entire damn story out. So then he got busy with whatever other movies or whatever else he was doing. I don't even remember how long off the top of my head, and I don't want to lose my video, so I won't go Google it. But at least 5 years between issue 3 and issue 4 to finish the run, at least 5 years. And issue 3 ends with Black Cat she's been drugged and about to be raped and a 5-year gap. And you're like, what? And I've gone to Q&As with him, and I'm like, are you going to finish this fucking comic book? You left us hanging. What the hell, man? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And eventually he did it. And yeah, so, but anyway, yes, it's a book exchange we have going on. And now that I have this, I'm sure he's going to want to borrow this once I'm done.
Yeah. I have a vendetta against Kevin Smith at this point, but that's for another episode. But going to TMNT to end the episode, one, it will be hilarious if they bring Venus back, the female turtle. But the series was so good that they are going to do a prequel to Last Ronin. There is a sequel series that at the end of the book, they hint at, again, I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end, but they hint at it continuing. But they want to do a prequel series, and it's one that like everybody's all about, because they're like, oh, now we're going to get more of like the adult Ninja Turtles versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And not just that it's like, oh, because it's adult, now they're going to like be banging people or anything, but be, you know, that more mature story, which is kind of what the original Turtles were. Like the original comic series, like they kill Shredder at the end. Like that was meant to be a more adult style comic book. But you know, somebody saw opportunity there. They're like, oh, we can sell toys. Can't sell toys on this thing. You got to kitty it up. If you have not done so, I recommend it to every human on earth. Toys That Made Us on Netflix. Watch the Ninja Turtle one. It's amazing.
Yeah. So like I say, I grew up, I watched the first live action movie, which how crazy is that movie that was so good and more or less holds up. Like forgive the animatronics and whatnot, but it's still a damn good movie.
Oh,
so that was it.
Top
And then
three
the
all
live
time.
action and the cartoon. I think I watched like a making of the original movie, and I was in the documentary. It was like Jim Henson almost was trying to back out or wanted to back out because, yeah, like you just said, I had no idea. The original comics were that bloody. They were black and white because they were killing people and there was blood everywhere.
Yep.
And black and white was like kind of like actually, what's his face? Quentin Tarantino in Kill Bill Volume 1, that whole scene in the Yakuza hangout is in black and white.
Was it them?
Yes, that whole scene is in black and white because
Amazing.
there's just so much blood.
God, that movie's so good.
That is, and that's on all the time now. Like, and that's such a good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had no idea that it was so violent. So this is actually not only will this be my first comic, I guess it's the first comic in the spirit of the original run where it's more serious and I'm assuming very violent because I do know the last Ronin, there were 4 of them. Something happened to the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Something happens to everybody in that book. It's amazing. And it calls back to cartoon stuff. It calls back to movie stuff. Like there's characters from all over in it. But at this point, I just want the figures. Like I want all the figures. Let me see if I can pull them up. I'm not going to show it yet because I want to make sure there's no potential spoilers in any of the pictures I find. This I can show because this won't spoil anything. But this figure here was top 3 for everybody. Anybody who toy hunts, collects. Like these two, the armored and the unarmored, were top for everybody. Like came with all the weapons that were damaged and broken. The head sculpts were amazing. The details were amazing. All that stuff. I'm going to switch back real quick before I find the other turtles. I recorded them at Comic-Con, but I don't think I have any pictures of them. But the way that the other figures look are pretty dope. And I'm excited for a story with those adult turtles going forward. Armor looks great. The villains look great. And Aaron made the comment in there before. I was going to come back to it. About them doing an animated movie about it. They got to stay true to it. And it's a very violent, very bloody story. And if they at any point try to maybe it's got to be rated R. Like you can't, the 1990 movie, people, when it came out and they did screenings, they were like, is this supposed to be rated R? Like feels like it's towing a line. By today's standards, it's like rated G. But at the time, they're like, it's towing a line. But Last Ronin needs to, by today's standards, be rated R. Like there's no way around that. And I'm afraid if they do a movie, if they do a movie, I don't have faith that they'll maintain it should be rated R. At the bare minimum, PG-13 with, if they allow blood and stuff, they're turtles, so I guess scream blood, maybe there's different rules for that.
Maybe. Well, what about if they did this? What if they did like a PG version of it, but and again, this is like, you have to get the bang for your buck, because I'm not buying two versions of this. We've talked about once before, like the digital version has to be the final version. I'm not buying, the director's cut of Blade Runner 10 times over, the director's cut, the extended cut,
There were
the
different
final
endings.
cut,
There were different endings in Blade Runner's defense.
No, I remember that they were. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, it has to be, it has to be the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, it has to be. But what if they did? I'd be okay if they did The Last Ronin and basically called it the family-friendly version, and then in that, same thing like on the old DVD menus, play the extended cut with commentary, play just the extended cut. You go for the adult version.
Mm-hmm.
You have your cake and you eat it too. I'm gonna buy it for the kids. I'm happy because I get to watch it, but I also get to have, Josh's kids can watch the version and not be traumatized.
Right.
And that to me would be worth like $30 or $40 even, $20 for each movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think I found one that I'm looking at everything, like everything on the screen. I'm like, is there a spoiler here? Is there a spoiler here? I think this one's safe, but hang on, I got to move windows around to get to it. But like these turtles here on the right, like homage to the original concept of them all being red bandana.
Uh-huh.
Like in person, these are just amazing. Like, these are absolutely amazing.
I mean, damn. Did we miss these? Were these at well, no, I guess it came out in 2020. This wasn't at Comic-Con that we just went to.
It was. Those four were there.
Oh, they were? And we didn't. Well, this isn't your photo, so we didn't see this then.
We did. I took a video of it. I don't know where you were.
You did?
Yeah.
Huh. Where was I?
Where is
a question I ask myself more and more.
So like this is a Leo, for example, from that story.
Yeah.
So it's just, different suits, more mature, more, edgy.
Yeah.
There's a part, this isn't really a spoiler, but at a certain point in the book, they are, the Ronin is fighting a lot of like android Foot Clan and droids in general, or that's Star Wars, androids, robots. But in the flashbacks, when shit really goes south, they're fighting the Foot, and it's like, no, you can't hold back anymore. Like we're past that point, and it's just, it's a bloody mess.
Actually,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I might have to skip my book and jump right into this.
No, it's good. It's good. It's I can't say enough good things about that storyline, and it's one that we all kind of you kind of had that story as a kid at some point. At some point, all your characters as a kid die. You do the more mature version, and they just made it into an actual book. It's good.
Yeah. Hell, Marvel tried to they did make an animated movie about it where I think they just called it The Next Avengers or something. And it's all the Avengers kids fighting Ultron, I think.
Terrible movie.
I'm sure it was. It didn't look good.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
I didn't watch it. I just know the premise of it. And I'm pretty sure like they all die off screen except for like, I don't know, maybe Black Widow or something.
Yeah, it was after the Ultimates came out. And I was so mad at the Ultimates movie because I love the book. But that movie was just, God. I think especially my last thing on there, especially because this has come up in MMA pop culture. In the Ultimates book, when they rebooted the Ultimate series or the Marvel comic book universe, they were like, we're going to make things, again, more mature, more edgy, whatever. So they have the Avengers form, and you probably noticed already, but in case any of you don't know, Captain America, doing his thing, and one day he sees the Wasp, and she's married to Ant-Man, and she has like a black and blue or something. So he's like, "What is where did that one come from? Like we haven't had any fights, whatever." And essentially, she alludes to Ant-Man pulling a DV on her, and Captain America's like, "All right, bet." Goes to the bar, finds Ant-Man, takes that man to the pearly gates, right up to the gate, pulls him back before he crosses that. And it was amazing. Right. It was a good trade. And I remember when the animated movie came out, I was like, oh my God, they're gonna like talk about that, like domestic violence being a thing. And they just danced around, did their own thing, and I was just like, you know what, F this. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. The comic, I mean, I remember it did that, and then it just went to places where, why did they go there? Like they made Pietro and Wanda a couple, but they were still siblings.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they were actually, excuse me. I just remember reading a panel and somebody I think it was Wasp goes to Captain America. Well, they love each other. And he's like, yeah, they're brother and sister. And she's like, no, they love each other. And he's just, like, huh?
Yeah.
And so, the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
It was supposed to simplify everything.
Thanks to the Ultimate Universe, we got Miles Morales. That's the one good thing.
Yes. The Ultimate Comic Spider-Man run, including Miles Morales, that's the only real saving grace of that thing, because everything else, the entire point of it was to simplify, because everything had, Spider-Man had however many different titles, the X-Men have always been a friggin' mess. Everything kind of got off the rails except Spider-Man, and they had the same creative team for like, hell, I think they had the same creative team through Miles's run. Right? Maybe not the same artist, but definitely the same writer.
Maybe.
Was that Bendis?
I was out by that point because they didn't give me they didn't cut my check for them copying my life.
Ah, well. I mean, I don't want to say anything else unless I don't want to get you in trouble. With the law or with the bad guys. Well, no, I mean.
No, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
We can talk. We'll do a whole episode talking about how to possibly save comic books, because at this point, things get so convoluted, so crisscrossed, so the reboots. It probably merits an episode on its own.
It definitely does, and I need a little bit of time. I'm willing to do the reading on this one. Yeah. I'll catch up. But yeah, that it definitely can be its own. Hell, that could be its own series.
Yeah. Before we call an episode, anything you want to allude to, or anything coming out? Anything you want to plug? Sorry, plug shit, as I say.
Yes, thank you. There is a rambling coming down the pipe. I saw Avatar recently, so I talk about that in my usual haphazard way. Bear with me; it's my first solo one back, so bear with me. I mean, obviously now it's that other book got kicked to the curb. I'm reading not tonight because I've had a little too much of that wine, but I think first thing tomorrow I'm cracking open Last Ronin, and I have the whole thing, so that shouldn't take me more than a day or two. So I'll be talking about that. If you actually, so I'm sorry, all this talking about it. Have you read it, or you've just read all the spoilers on it?
I watched explained videos issue by issue. So I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it just so I can read it straight through. But I was watching issue reviews and discussions as they were coming out straight through.
Gotcha. Okay, so well, either I'll talk about it or you and I'll talk about it, since you already do know what's happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, that and I don't know. I feel like I kind of owe it to, just because Aaron's doing it, and I don't want to let him suffer alone. Maybe I'll make myself watch Titans.
No, he's not. He said he quit.
I know he said he quit, but I feel like me, he's gonna kind of come back guilty to it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's a better man than I am, but just to have his back if and when he goes back to it, maybe I'll make myself do that. But definitely Stargirl, and once it starts up, Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
So I don't know about a week by week of Superman and Lois, but definitely Stargirl. Once I finish that, I'll end up doing a season 2 and 3, the final season, sadly, review, and we'll go from there. And I know we have to end on Superman and Lois. I got to find out if there's a real reason why Jonathan, the actor who plays Jonathan Kent,
left.
Yeah, because they're doing they're just slotting in a new guy.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like you can just swap characters or swap actors and actresses mid franchise and nobody really cares. Like Marvel's done it. If only a certain Flash movie would have just swap them. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see.
Alas, here we are. So on the nerd affiliated front, first of all, again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Down below, there's the channel memberships. We got monetized just at the end of last year. Thanks to all of you. Really appreciate it. If it's in your heart, down below, you can hit join if you're on a web version, apparently, because you can't do it on your phone. But you can go to like your browser on your phone, hit the join button for 99 cents a month. You can help support this channel. There's even a $2.99 a month version, which is great because you can help us choose topics to talk about. You can also, I haven't really like promoted this a lot. For the $2.99 a month, you can actually submit video or audio of a question or a comment, and it may show up on the show. The little disclaimer at the bottom is we reserve the right to reject your question or comment. Because I know Josh is just going to keep saying, you should get an Android phone. You should get an Android phone.
Yeah.
So we reserve the right.
Josh.
And the last thing, I'm glad he brought it up, Nerdy Coffee. That's a Monday morning stream. It's a new stream here on the channel. It's not called HeyArcher Live because there may be episodes where I'm not even there. So it's the nerd-affiliated morning coffee. I'm thinking 9 o'clock will be the time. We're still on the fence with it, but it may be 9 o'clock. It's a short show, 9 to 9:30. That way, when it's done, you can get right into your stock trading. Stock market opens at 9:30, so it'll be fresh for that. And that's going to be more of a news show. We talk about the previous week's releases, the previous week's box office, what's coming up that week, and then popular news from the week prior. So fun news show. Episode 1 just happened last week. So again, subscribe here at the channel. Hit the bell to get notified when we go live and when new videos come out. And as Anthony mentioned, the Avatar video will be coming out soon. So yeah, you may not have any solo videos with myself because between the 2 live videos and then editing Anthony and Sal's videos, I may be MIA on some of that stuff, but they'll hold it down.
But you're still working hard.
Or hardly
Don't think
working.
because we're well, not me, but don't think because Sal's on screen and you hear my nasally voice that Steve's like kicking back, just like counting the YouTube money.
Counting that 99-cent check.
Yeah, man.
No, but in all seriousness, thank you all. Appreciate you guys coming by every week and watching here on Thursdays at 8:15 p.m.-ish Eastern on nerdaffiliated.com. Monday morning, 9 o'clock Eastern at the moment, Nerdy Coffee. Down below, hit the like button. Hit subscribe if you're so inclined. And if you have that little bit extra in you, hit join. Join the Nerd Foundation. Help keep this channel going. But we appreciate you even just watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I said that already. And we'll talk to all you nerds in the next video, podcast, live stream, whatever it may be. Peace. We're out of here. You need your own like Carpe Noctem saying.
I'll work on it. It's a new year. Test is done. I have time. I'll brainstorm.
There you go. See you guys later.